Welcome to the Razors Inc. podcast with your host, Jonathan Farini. It's one of the most difficult and enduring questions in arts and culture. Is it possible to separate the art from the artist? Richard Wagner, for example, was an avowed anti-Semite, and yet the world of opera would look vastly different if not for Wagner's magnificent works. Michael Jackson's legacy was tainted by allegations of child molestation, and yet his music is as popular as ever. So, can we admire a great film, novel, painting, or music if the person who created it behaved terribly? Or does knowing the artist's actions permanently change the meaning of the work itself? So pour yourself a drink, pull up a chair, and hear Jonathan's take on movies, television, and today, Jonathan presents a compelling argument for the former. Here's your host, Jonathan Farini.
This podcast is not long, but it's long overdue. I have about a half a dozen movie channels that I surf regularly, looking for movies that appeal to my sensibilities, which are not mass media films. They're just good films. And when I see the opening logo of the cityscape at night and the twinkling lights come on in the building, forming the words Miramax, I know 9 out of 10 times I'm in for a great film. So I'm recording this podcast as a thank you to Miramax and the founders, Harvey Weinstein and Bob Weinstein, for their contribution to a library of films that changed the trajectory of modern cinema. And not just from me, but on behalf of so many people in front of and behind the camera who got their first real break because someone at Miramax said yes, many of whom, understandably, for reasons of career or culture, never publicly gave that credit post-2017, or did so quietly enough that it went unnoticed. So this is a thank you note, long overdue, at least from a viewer. Now let me be clear about something because it matters. This is not a defense of or endorsement of the behavior of Harvey Weinstein. What came to light is serious, documented, and part of a larger reckoning that had to happen in Hollywood sooner or later, and it did. But this is also not a podcast about the scandal or about the darker side of the industry. That history, however uncomfortable, did not begin in 2017. Anyone familiar with the early days of MGM, Warner Brothers, 20th Century Fox, or Columbia Pictures knows that the mythology of Hollywood has always had shadows alongside its light. This conversation is about something else entirely. It's about contribution. It's about two risk-taking, forward-thinking film lovers from Buffalo, New York, who built something that wasn't supposed to exist, and in doing so, gave a generation of artists their first shot. Miramax started in 1979, not as a studio, but as a distribution company, picking up small films, foreign films, documentaries, the kind of films that didn't have a home in mainstream Hollywood. And yet, by the numbers, Miramax would go on to produce or distribute, get this, over 700 films, earning more than 250 Academy Award nominations and over 70 wins. That's not an accident. That's not luck. It's a system that identified talent early and bet on it, just like the moguls of old. Look at the names. Steven Soderbergh with Sex, Lies, and Videotape.
No, please, don't do that.
Why not?
No, really, don't.
Why not? I just want to ask you a few questions. Like, why do you tape women talking about sex, huh? Why do you do that? Can you tell me why?
Yes, tell me why? Why? Ann, you don't even know who I am. You don't have the slightest idea who I am. Am I supposed to recount all the points in my life leading up to this moment and just hope that it's coherent, that it makes some sort of sense to you? It doesn't make any sense to me. You know, I was there. I don't have the slightest idea who I am. And I'm supposed to be able to explain it to you.
Quentin Tarantino with Pulp Fiction.
But you know the funniest thing about Europe is?
What?
It's the little differences. I mean, they got the same over there that they got here, but it's just there, it's a little different.
Example?
All right, well, you can walk into a movie theater in Amsterdam and buy a beer. And I don't mean just like no paper cup, I'm talking about a glass of beer. And in Paris, you can buy a beer in McDonald's. And you know what they call a quarter pounder with cheese in Paris?
They don't call it a quarter pounder with cheese?
Oh man, they got the metric system. They wouldn't know what the quarter pounder is.
And what do they call it?
They call it Royale with cheese.
Royale with cheese.
That's right.
What do they call a Big Mac?
Big Mac's a Big Mac, but they call it Le Big Mac.
Le Big Mac. What do they call a Whopper?
I don't know. I didn't go on a Burger King.
Kevin Smith with Clerks.
Can you imagine being halfway decent to the customer sometimes?
Let me borrow your car.
May I be blunt with you?
If you must.
We are employees of the Quick Stop Convenience and RST Video, respectively. As such, we have certain obligations, though they may seem cruel and unusual, does mean manning the store until closing.
I see, so playing hockey and attending wakes, these practices are standard operating procedure?
There's a difference. Those are obligations. Obligations that couldn't been met at any other date. Now, renting videos, that's just gratuitous, not to mention illogical, being that you work at a video store.
Robert Rodriguez with El Mariachi.
Caminando por la vida voy, caminando por la vida voy pensando en un amor.
These weren't polished, studio-approved filmmakers. They were outsiders. But Miramax made them insiders. And then there were the careers that followed. Matt Damon and Ben Affleck, unknowns turned Oscar winners through Good Will Hunting.
Do you like apples?
Yeah.
Well, I got a number. How do you like them apples?
Gwyneth Paltrow, Best Actress for Shakespeare in Love. Kate Blanchett, Renee Zellweger. And beyond actors, think of the many cinematographers, editors, producers, and craftspeople whose names don't always headline posters, but whose work defines what we remember. Miramax didn't just make films. My point is, it built careers. Try to imagine the 90s and beyond without Miramax. What would the film landscape look like? It would look like a barren desert, in my opinion. And the films themselves, stack them up against any studio of the modern era. Pulp Fiction, The English Patient.
Mrs. Clifton, I'd like to present Count Thormashy.
Hello. Jeffrey gave me your monograph when I was reading up on the desert. Very impressive.
Thank you.
I wanted to meet the man who could write such a long paper with so few adjectives.
A thing is still a thing, no matter what you place in front of it. Big car, slow car, chauffeur-driven car.
Broken car?
Still a car.
Not much use, though.
Love, romantic love, platonic love, filial love. Quite different things, surely.
Uxoriousness, that's my favourite kind of love. Excessive love of one's wife.
Now, there you have me.
9 Academy Awards, Good Will Hunting, Shakespeare in Love, Best Picture Oscar. Chicago, 6 Academy Awards.
The name on everybody's lips is gonna be Roxy. The lady raking in the chips is gonna be Roxy.
Life is Beautiful, 3 Academy Awards. And The Crying Game.
You're being held hostage by the Irish Republican Army. Have you anything to say?
Nice to meet you, folks.
My pleasure, Jody.
You'll have minimum contact with that prisoner, because tomorrow we might have to shoot him.
I want you to do something for me. I want you to find her out, see if she's all right.
This is a catalog that rivals the great studio runs of Warner Brothers and MGM in their prime. But see, my point is, Miramax did it differently. It found films at Sundance, the film festival. It turned niche into mainstream. It made audiences care about stories they actually didn't know they wanted until they saw them. And for a time after its acquisition by the Mouse, also known as the Walt Disney Company, in 1993, it had the resources to scale that vision without losing its edge. That balance between art and commerce and risk and reward is what made Miramax feel like a true studio, not just a distributor, not just a brand, a real studio. Alas, like so many Hollywood stories, it didn't last. By 2005, the Weinstein brothers departed to form the Weinstein Company. By 2017, the scandal surrounding Harvey Weinstein reshaped the industry. And by 2018, that company was gone. And Miramax, incidentally, lest I forget, it was named after Miriam and Max, the Weinsteins' father and mother. Miramax became something quieter. It was owned, reshaped, distanced from the force it once was. So what remains? Well, the work remains, the films remain, and the careers remain. The proof remains that a company from Buffalo with no traditional power base could rise up and for a moment, I mean that proverbially, operate like the great studios of old, 20th Century Fox, Columbia Pictures, and in some ways outproduce them creatively in its era. I really believe that. That's my thesis, that Miramax, improbable as it was, became the most prolific builder of modern film talent in its time. Try to imagine, I'll say it again, the 90s and beyond without Miramax films. It would look like a desert. And that may be its lasting legacy, because Hollywood still runs on discovery, on risk, on someone saying yes before the rest of the world catches up. Miramax did that again and again and again. Who's doing it now? I don't know. The question now is whether anyone will do it at that scale, with that consistency, ever again. Because the bar's been set high, and it's very high. Yeah, I can think of one, maybe two, but time will tell. None of their films have impressed me. So, on behalf of Jonathan Ferrini and likely many other fans and a whole hell of a lot of talent that remained quiet, in my opinion, thank you, Harvey and Bob Weinstein. You may have been the last Hollywood icons to pull off a contribution to filmmaking like the founders of the industry once did. Time will tell. But as I said before, and I'll say it again, it's a high bar for anybody to reach. Until I see you next time, please leave behind a soft footprint, and class is dismissed.
And so taken as a whole, as Jonathan suggested, the legendary films of Miramax were the products of many hands, not just one lecherous executive. So while it's easy to pile on Harvey Weinstein, Miramax was more than one man. Think of the countless films that would never have been made, the actors, directors, the crews who never would have had the work. And reading that list of Miramax movies, in spite of the actions of some, the artistic legacy of Miramax simply cannot be ignored. You've been listening to the Razors Inc. podcast with Jonathan Ferrini. Be sure to check out Jonathan's collection of fiction at jonathanferrini.com. Also, look for Jonathan's short story, Two Black Dresses, a touching story in which grief brings two women together. Two Black Dresses, already published in the latest edition of Borderless, it's been published again in the latest edition of The Wise Owl. Look for it at thewiseowl.art or at jonathanferrini.com. You can also drop an email anytime to razorsincpodcast@gmail.com.